Hi, my name is Claire Wilson. I'm 34 years old, and last Tuesday, my entire life changed forever. I won 57 million US dollars in the lottery. But instead of telling anyone, I decided to keep it a secret and test the people I thought I could trust most, my own family. I wanted to see who truly cared about me, and who only cared about what I could give them. What happened next shocked me, broke my heart, and yet taught me the most valuable lesson about loyalty, love, and karma. If you are watching this right now, drop a comment letting me know where you are viewing from. Before I tell you about this life-changing decision, hit like and subscribe to hear more real stories. Before that fateful Tuesday, my life was painfully ordinary. I worked as an accountant at a small marketing firm in Seattle, making just enough to live comfortably, but never enough to feel truly secure. My apartment was modest, nothing fancy, just a small place on the outskirts of the city that I could call my own. Every morning I'd wake up at 6, make my coffee, and start my day with the constant worry of bills, deadlines, and work stress. My job demanded long hours. 60-hour weeks were normal, especially during tax season. Life was a careful balancing act, predictable yet exhausting, and I had no idea that a single lottery ticket was about to change everything. My family situation was complicated, to say the least. My parents, Henry and Margaret Collins, divorced when I was 14 and both remarried within 2 years. My father, Wilson, married Vanessa, a real estate agent with expensive taste. My mother, Margaret, found love with Derek, a wealthy business owner who never let go of a penny. I had 2 siblings, Emma, the golden child, married to a surgeon with a perfect suburban life, and Nathan, my older brother, whose life was a series of failed jobs and desperate pleas for money. Our extended family wasn't any easier. My Aunt Clara was genuinely kind despite living paycheck to paycheck, while Aunt Vivian flaunted her wealth and entitlement. Cousin Ethan, her son, had inherited her arrogance and a gambling problem the family ignored. I had been burned many times before, lending money to my siblings or parents only to watch them squander it. The betrayals had left me jaded and cautious, with only one person I could truly trust. My best friend Sophia, who had remained a constant in my life. Work offered no solace either. My boss Martin often took credit for my ideas, and my colleague Kyle regularly left early, leaving me to finish his work while he gained recognition. Despite being underappreciated, I kept my head down and worked diligently, hoping someday it would pay off. Buying lottery tickets was my small indulgence, my tiny ritual of hope every Friday. My family teased me endlessly. My mother called it a tax on people who couldn't do math. My brother joked I might as well give him the money, and my father lectured me about probability. But those tickets represented a dream, a sliver of freedom I refused to give up, even as my mid-30s approached and financial worries mounted. I had simple dreams. Traveling beyond the Pacific Northwest, maybe pursuing a master's degree, and having enough savings to survive unexpected expenses. Life was a constant juggle of bills, groceries, and small pleasures with Charlotte. My car was old, my debt persistent, but I had mastered the art of appearing perfectly fine while constantly calculating costs in my head. And I had no idea that all of this ordinary, carefully measured life was about to be overturned in ways I could never imagine. It was a regular Friday, and like every week, I stopped at the corner store to buy my usual lottery tickets. I didn't think much of it. Just another small indulgence, a tiny escape from the stress of bills and work. When the numbers were announced that evening, my heart literally skipped a beat. All 7 numbers matched. I had won $57 million US dollars. I sat there in disbelief, staring at the ticket, my hands shaking. Every penny I had ever dreamed of suddenly felt within reach. Yet the first thought that came to my mind wasn't luxury or vacations. It was people. I knew my family. I knew their patterns. I knew who truly cared about me and who would only want a piece of this fortune. And in that moment, I made a decision that would change everything. I would not tell a single soul. Not yet. I would observe, test, and see who really had my back. I smiled at the thought. The lottery had given me more than money. It had given me a chance to see the truth. And I was ready to play this careful, secret game of loyalty and betrayal. I couldn't keep the secret to myself forever, but I also didn't want to tell anyone the truth just yet. I wanted to see who really cared about me, who would be there even if they didn't know I had money. So, I came up with a plan. I would pretend I needed help, just a small loan, and see who offered it without hesitation. I rehearsed the story in my head over and over, trying to make it sound believable. It had to feel real, like I was struggling, not like I was playing a game. The thought made my stomach twist. Was I wrong to do this? Would they feel hurt or betrayed if they ever found out? But deep down, I knew this was the only way to see the truth. That weekend, I picked up my phone and started texting my family, casually asking for small favors. I didn't know what would happen next. And honestly, I was nervous about what I might discover. Within hours of sending my messages, the replies started coming. I waited nervously, heart pounding, wondering who would actually help. First, it was my sister Emma. Her response was polite but distant. She said she was too busy and couldn't help right now. My stomach sank a little. I had always thought she was the golden child, loyal and dependable. Then came my brother, Nathan. He read my message and asked for more details, then started hinting about how I could pay him back later. It was the same pattern I had seen for years: desperate words, promises, and then silence. I felt a mix of disappointment and relief. My instincts were right. I needed to see everyone's true colors. The first reactions were just the beginning, and I knew the real test was yet to come. Next, I decided it was time to see how my parents would react. I sent a carefully worded message to my dad, asking for a small loan to cover an unexpected emergency. His reply came quickly, but it wasn't what I hoped for. He said he'd think about it, and then asked questions about why I couldn't handle it myself. I could feel the old frustration rising. It was the same pattern I had seen growing up. Then I messaged my mom. Her response was even colder. She said she was busy with work and couldn't help, but she added a comment about being careful with my spending. I felt a pang of sadness. It was clear. My parents, the people I had trusted most in my life, were more concerned with rules and appearances than actually helping me. The realization stung, but it also made me more determined to continue my secret test. I needed to see who would stand by me, no matter what. After seeing my parents' responses, I turned my attention to my extended family. I wanted to see if anyone else would step up, anyone who truly cared. I first messaged my Aunt Clara, the one family member I always knew I could count on. Within minutes, she replied, asking questions about my emergency and offering to help however she could. A warm feeling spread through me. Finally, someone who actually cared. Then came Aunt Vivian, my father's wealthy sister. Her response was short and dismissive. She asked why I hadn't planned better and hinted that she was too busy for my problems. And her son, Ethan, didn't even bother to reply. It was like a spotlight on everyone's true colors. Some offered help without hesitation. Others only cared about appearances or themselves. I realized my plan was working. The lottery had given me a way to finally see who valued me and who only wanted what they could get from me. By now, I had seen everyone's reactions. Some expected, some shocking. The truth was undeniable. Not everyone in my family cared about me, and some only wanted to take advantage. I sat quietly in my apartment, staring at my phone, feeling a mix of sadness and relief. Sadness because of the people I had trusted who let me down. Relief because I finally knew who I could really count on. Clara's kindness stood out like a light in the dark. She didn't ask for money. She didn't question my motives. She just offered help. Everyone else either ignored me, made excuses, or subtly reminded me of their expectations. It was a painful lesson, but an important one. I realized that sometimes, Life gives you a test disguised as fortune, and how people respond tells you more than any words ever could. After seeing everyone's true reactions, I knew I had to be careful. The $57 million was mine, and I couldn't let anyone's greed ruin it or my peace of mind. I decided to focus only on the people I could trust. Clara, my aunt, was at the top of the list. I also had Sophia, my best friend, who had always been there for me. These were the people I could rely on without hesitation. I started making a secret plan, not just about protecting the money, but also about testing loyalty further, seeing who would step up when I really needed them. I realized that money wasn't just wealth, it was a tool to uncover truth. Every decision from this point on had to be precise. One wrong move, and my secret could be exposed, or worse, fall into the wrong hands. But for the first time in years, I felt a strange sense of control, like finally holding the pieces to my own story. With my plan in place, I started small. I asked Clara for help with something minor, just a small favor that didn't involve money. I wanted to see her reaction and whether she would truly step up. As expected, she didn't hesitate. She offered advice, support, and even went out of her way to make sure I was okay. Her kindness felt almost overwhelming, like a warm light in the middle of a storm. Then I tested Sophia, my best friend. I shared a small problem at work, pretending I needed help, and she jumped in without a second thought. Her loyalty reminded me why she had always been my anchor. Meanwhile, I kept watching my family, sending little hints here and there, waiting for reactions. Some ignored me, some offered excuses, and others tried to take advantage. Each response confirmed what I had suspected all along. Not everyone had my best interest at heart. It was both heartbreaking and enlightening, but I knew these small tests were just the beginning of revealing the truth about the people around me. After seeing the results of the small tests, I knew it was time to step things up. I decided to create a bigger challenge, one that would push my family to reveal their true intentions. I sent a message to my brother Nathan, claiming I needed help with a significant financial problem. I carefully worded it so it sounded serious but believable, hoping to see whether he would genuinely care or just think about what he could gain. His response was exactly what I feared. He asked for details, hinted at how I could pay him back later, and tried to negotiate the situation like it was a business deal. No concern for me, just the money. It was frustrating but also validating. My suspicions were correct, and now I had a clear picture of who I could trust. It was painful, yes, but necessary. And as I watched the reactions unfold, I realized that these tests were more than about money. They were about seeing the real heart of the people I called family. After all the tests, I had a clear understanding of who really cared about me. Clara and Sophia had shown nothing but kindness and support, while others had revealed their true motives, mostly self-interest and greed. I decided it was time to focus on the people who had proven themselves trustworthy. I began making plans to quietly reward their loyalty, not with flashy gifts, but with meaningful gestures that showed how much I valued them. Clara received a personal note of gratitude, along with a small token that could help her with her day-to-day life. Sophia got a surprise that recognized her constant support through thick and thin. It felt incredible to finally take control and show appreciation to the ones who genuinely mattered. For the first time, I realized that my lottery win wasn't just about money. It was about seeing the truth, understanding loyalty, and building stronger, meaningful connections. Clara received a personal note of gratitude, along with a small token that could help her with her day-to-day life. Sophia got a surprise that recognized her constant support through thick and thin. It felt incredible to finally take control and show appreciation to the ones who genuinely mattered. For the first time, I realized that my lottery win wasn't just about money. It was about seeing the truth, understanding loyalty, and building stronger, meaningful connections. With the loyalty tests complete, I finally had clarity. I knew who I could trust and who I couldn't. Now it was time to make bigger life changes, the kind I had only dreamed about before winning the lottery. I started planning carefully. I wanted a new home, a place where I could feel safe and at peace, away from the constant stress and family drama. I also thought about travel, experiences, and finally investing in the things that mattered to me. But every decision had to consider the people I could trust. Clara and Sophia would be part of my new life, quietly and meaningfully, while others would remain on the sidelines for now. It was exciting and scary at the same time. I felt a mix of empowerment and caution, knowing I could finally shape my life the way I wanted, while keeping my fortune protected from those who didn't have my best interest at heart. Now that I knew who I could trust, it was time to secure my $57 million. I didn't want anyone to take advantage of me, and I wanted my new life to be safe and stress-free. I met with a financial advisor in secret and began setting up accounts, investments, and protections that would ensure my money stayed safe. Every decision was careful, precise, and private. No one in my family knew the full truth yet. Not my parents, not my siblings, not even my extended family. I also planned small steps to start living differently, moving into a safer, more comfortable apartment, buying necessities I had always put off, and thinking about the adventures I could finally have. It felt empowering. For the first time, I realized that money wasn't just a number. It was freedom, security, and the ability to surround myself with people who truly cared about me. With my fortune secured and my plans in motion, I decided it was time to observe my family again. This time, in response to my small lifestyle changes. I started casually mentioning upgrades, like considering a new car or moving to a better apartment, without revealing the lottery win. I wanted to see who would genuinely be happy for me, and who would react with envy or judgment. The reactions were telling. My sister made subtle comments about keeping things modest, and my brother tried to hint at borrowing ideas or money. Meanwhile, Clara and Sophia cheered me on, offering support and advice without any hidden agenda. It was fascinating and bittersweet. The more I revealed in small ways, the more clearly I could see who truly cared. This secret life was not just about money. It was about understanding the people around me and finally seeing the truth of their hearts. After seeing everyone's reactions to my subtle life changes, I knew it was time to quietly reward the people who truly cared. I started with Clara. I sent her a thoughtful gift, something practical that I knew would help her in her daily life, along with a heartfelt note thanking her for always being there. She was genuinely touched, and that warmth reminded me why she mattered so much. Next, I reached out to Sophia. I surprised her with a small gesture that recognized all the times she had supported me, even when I didn't have much to give in return. She was overjoyed and grateful, and I could see that our friendship had grown even stronger. Meanwhile, those who had only shown interest in what they could gain received nothing. I didn't need to punish them. Their own actions had already revealed their true selves. For the first time, I felt the joy of giving to people who truly deserved it, without any expectations in return. With the loyal ones supported and my fortune secure, I finally began planning bigger changes for my life. I wanted a life filled with freedom, comfort, and meaningful connections. I started looking for a new apartment, one that felt safe and private, away from the stress and judgment of family drama. I also began planning small adventures, trips I had always dreamed of, but never thought I could afford. Clara and Sophia were part of my plans. Their presence was a reminder that loyalty and kindness mattered more than blood or expectations. They would be my companions in this new chapter, while others who had shown selfishness remained on the sidelines. For the first time, I felt a sense of control, empowerment, and excitement. My life was no longer just about surviving. It was about thriving, surrounded by the people who truly cared about me. Now that I had started building my new life, I decided to test my family with a bigger scenario, one that would show their true colors even more clearly. I mentioned a hypothetical financial challenge, something significant, without revealing the lottery win. I wanted to see who would genuinely care, who would offer help, and who would react with judgment or selfishness. As expected, my brother tried to negotiate and hint at taking advantage. My sister gave polite but distant responses, concerned more about appearances than helping. But Clara and Sophia? They offered real support and encouragement, ready to help without asking for anything in return. Each response reaffirmed my choices. I knew now that my fortune wasn't just about money. It was a lens to see the truth about people, to understand loyalty, and to finally surround myself with the right people. With all the lessons learned from my family tests, I finally began taking concrete steps to shape my new life. I started making decisions about where I wanted to live, what kind of experiences I wanted, and who would be part of this next chapter. Clara and Sophia became central to my plans. I included them quietly in my life, making sure they felt valued and appreciated, while keeping the lottery a secret from everyone else. For my siblings and parents, I kept my distance. I realized some relationships were too toxic or self-serving, and it was okay to step back. My focus was on safety, loyalty, and peace of mind. It felt liberating. For the first time in years, I wasn't just reacting to life. I was in control, making choices that truly reflected my values and the people I could trust. With control over my life and fortune, I began planning for the future I had always dreamed about. I started small, investing in things that would bring security, comfort, and happiness. I looked at property options, exploring apartments that were safe, private, and perfect for starting fresh. I also considered experiences I had only dreamed of, trips to new cities, learning new skills, and finally pursuing hobbies that brought me joy. Clara and Sophia were by my side, helping me plan and supporting my choices without any judgment. Their loyalty made me realize that relationships built on trust and kindness were far more valuable than money or appearances. Every step felt like reclaiming my life. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving or dreaming. I was actively creating a future where I felt free, secure, and truly happy. With my future taking shape, I focused on the people who had shown true loyalty. I spent more time with Clara and Sophia, sharing personal moments and letting them into this new chapter of my life. We talked about dreams, fears, and the past struggles that had shaped us. It wasn't about money. It was about trust, love, and companionship. For the first time, I felt surrounded by people who genuinely cared. Meanwhile, the rest of my family remained distant. I didn't need their approval or involvement anymore. Their reactions had shown me exactly who they were, and I accepted it. These moments reminded me why loyalty matters more than blood. With the right people by my side, I felt empowered to finally live life on my terms, without fear of betrayal or disappointment. By now, I felt ready to make bold decisions that would secure my future. I wanted my fortune to bring freedom and happiness, not stress or drama. I began planning bigger investments, like a safe, comfortable home, and ways to grow my wealth responsibly. Every choice was made carefully, ensuring that my money would benefit my life and the people I truly trusted. Clara and Sophia were involved in small ways, giving advice, helping me plan, and sharing excitement for the future. Their loyalty was unwavering, and it made me feel confident in my choices. Meanwhile, the rest of my family remained on the sidelines. I didn't need their validation or involvement anymore. My fortune wasn't just about money. It was about freedom, clarity, and building a life surrounded by genuine care and trust. With my fortune secure and my trusted circle in place, I started enjoying small rewards I had always dreamed of. It wasn't about extravagance. It was about simple joys that made life feel rich and meaningful. I treated myself to a better apartment, small trips around the city, and little experiences I had always put off. Clara and Sophia shared these moments with me, making them even more special. Their excitement and genuine happiness reminded me why loyalty mattered so much. Meanwhile, my family remained distant. I didn't feel guilty. I knew their reactions had shown their true colors. I was finally living life on my terms, free from manipulation, judgment, or selfish expectations. These small rewards weren't just material. They were proof that patience, observation, and loyalty could lead to real happiness and security. After enjoying the small rewards, I realized it was time for something bigger, a real adventure that I had dreamed about for years. It wasn't just about luxury, it was about experiencing life fully and creating lasting memories. I started planning a trip abroad, somewhere I had always wanted to visit. I made sure Clara and Sophia were part of the plan, knowing they would make the journey even more special. Their support and excitement reminded me how much genuine loyalty could enrich life. At the same time, I remained cautious. I kept my fortune private and avoided inviting anyone who had shown selfishness or greed. I had learned the hard way that not everyone deserved access to my life or my wealth. This adventure wasn't just a trip. It was a symbol of freedom, trust, and finally living life on my own terms. The day finally came for my big adventure. I packed my bags, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. Clara and Sophia were by my side, sharing in every moment of anticipation. As we traveled, I noticed how their loyalty shone even brighter in new experiences. They celebrated small wins, helped navigate challenges, and kept the mood light and positive. It made me realize that the people you choose to surround yourself with can truly transform an experience. Meanwhile, I reflected on my family from afar. Their absence was a reminder of who had shown genuine care and who had only been interested in what they could take. This journey wasn't just about seeing new places. It was about embracing freedom, loyalty, and the joy of living life fully with people who genuinely cared for me. After the adventure, I started thinking about the long term. I wanted my life to be filled with stability, happiness, and meaningful connections, not stress or betrayal. I made decisions about where I would live permanently, how I would manage my fortune, and who would be part of my inner circle. Clara and Sophia were at the center of these plans, trusted companions who had proven their loyalty time and time again. For my family, I created boundaries. I knew that some relationships couldn't be repaired, and that was okay. Protecting my peace and ensuring a life of trust was far more important than trying to force connections that were never genuine. These long-term choices gave me a sense of calm and empowerment. I realized that wealth was more than money. It was freedom, security, and the ability to shape my life exactly how I wanted. As everything settled into place, I took time to reflect on what this journey had taught me. Money had revealed the truth about people, who cared, who didn't, and who could be trusted with my life and happiness. I realized that family isn't always defined by blood. True family is about loyalty, kindness, and support, even when life is messy or money is involved. Clara and Sophia had become my chosen family, proving that genuine connections matter far more than appearances or obligations. I also learned the power of patience and observation. By taking my time, testing boundaries, and quietly watching reactions, I had uncovered the truth without confrontation or drama. These lessons were priceless. I finally understood that loyalty and love, not money or status, create the foundation for a happy and meaningful life. With everything settled, I finally felt free. I had my fortune, my independence, and most importantly, the people I could truly trust by my side. Clara and Sophia had proven that loyalty and kindness mattered more than family titles or appearances. My other relatives remained distant, but I no longer felt hurt or frustrated. Their actions had shown me the truth. I began looking forward to a future filled with experiences I had always dreamed of, surrounded by people who genuinely cared. Every choice, every small reward, and every adventure became a step toward a life of happiness, freedom, and trust. This journey taught me that life isn't about money or status. It's about understanding people, valuing loyalty, and building meaningful connections. And for the first time, I felt like I truly belonged, living a life I had always imagined.